Hi everyone and welcome to Jane Talks Real. It's Slayer Sunday where I will be talking about and reviewing all the episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer in order. Today I'm looking at Season 1, Episode 11, Out of Mind, Out of Sight. The episode begins with Cordelia, her boyfriend Mitch and Harmony having a vapid conversation when Buffy basically falls over them. She spills her weapons everywhere and tries to pass it off as a history thing, but Cordelia doesn't care. We jump to class where the teacher, Miss Miller, is reciting Shylock's speech from Merchant of Venice, and I get insta flashbacks to high school English class where I had to learn and perform that speech for a competition. Cordelia, as per usual, chimes in and makes it all about her.
Like this time I sort of ran over this girl on her bike. It was the most traumatizing event of my life, and she's trying to make it about her leg.
When the bell goes, Cordelia asks Miss Miller for some extra help with her final paper and the teacher agrees to fit her in the following day. Mitch is in the locker room and wait, I recognise him. He was in CSI Miami and Lucifer. Anyway, after he bros out with his bros, everyone clears out. He hears a woman laughing, but no one's there, so he reaches for a nearby baseball bat, but it floats in the air, beating the crap out of him. And into the credits we go. Buffy is having a bad day. First with Cordelia giving chocolate to everyone but her so they'll vote for her to be May Queen, and then with Xander and Willow laughing hysterically over something that Buffy wasn't there for. Buffy reveals that she was the popular girl in her old school, even being crowned May Queen, but here, she's just the weird girl. Mitch is wheeled past them and tells them about the floating bat. When Buffy goes to investigate, she's stopped by Principal Snyder, but Willow's quick thinking causes a distraction.
What did you say? Mitch was gonna sue the school?
Buffy finds the bat, but it seems normal. What isn't normal, however, is this message written on the lockers. Giles joins the gang at the cafeteria and they decide that it can't be a monster because they don't leave messages. Giles hasn't come across a floating bat before, but Xander has a theory.
Maybe it's a vampire bat.
Oh, come on! That was funny! Giles narrows it down to 3 possibilities. Someone with telekinesis. Wait, does Carrie White go to the school? Someone or something invisible. Or a poltergeist. Better call Tangina in on this one. They are all set tasks. Willow will look into dead or missing kids. Xander will help Giles with research, and Buffy will talk to those closest to Mitch, including Cordelia. Oh, what fun. She's busy complaining to Harmony about how bad Mitch will look in their prom pictures now he's taken a bat to the face. Say it with me now. Sod off, Cordelia! Then we get a little flashback of someone attempting to talk to Cordelia and Harmony, but they're shut down. When Buffy stops to talk to Cordelia, Harmony is hit so hard down the stairs that her backpack disappears entirely. Spooky. Snyder is on the scene and Harmony tells him that she didn't fall, she was pushed. Someone nearby finds that very funny. Buffy follows the laughter into an empty room where she's bumped into by something. Whatever it was climbs unseen into the ceiling. The gang regroup and Willow's shirt is a nice nod to how they'll be referred to as the Scoobies in upcoming seasons. Because the thing bumped into Buffy instead of passing through her, they now know they're looking for an invisible girl and not a ghost. They also realise that the connection between the 2 victims so far is Cordelia, because if anything is able to get on the wrong side of a mystical being, it's Cordelia. After everyone's gone home for the day, Buffy sneaks back into the school to keep an eye on Cordelia, who is trying on her May Queen dress. Buffy has a moment of, I wish I had that, before she hears flute music coming down the hall. Giles hears it too because he's in the library doing research, but he doesn't hear Angel sneak up behind him. This is Giles' first time meeting Angel.
A vampire in love with a slayer. It's rather poetic.
And he's here with his usual vague warnings. Him and Giles discuss books, and when Giles mentions a prophetic book that has been lost for centuries that would help him, Angel reveals he knows where it is and can get his hands on it. Giles gets a book boner. We get another flashback where we see our invisible girl for the first time. Hey, it's Clea Duvall! Neat! She attempts to talk to Cordelia, but she's once again ignored. Back in the present, Cordelia is announced as May Queen, obviously, and while she's giving her acceptance speech, some shifty dudes lurk about. Buffy goes over the missing student list Willow gave her and zeroes in on the most recent case, Marcy Ross, who played the flute, which explains the music, but Xander says he's never heard of her. Buffy heads back to where she was bumped into and follows the trail into the ceiling. She finds evidence that someone's been living up there. A flute, a stuffed animal, a yearbook, a floating knife. Oh wait, she doesn't see that last one and climbs back down with the yearbook in hand. Miss Miller is in her classroom when she hears a noise, but no one's there, except for this bag over her head. Cordelia gets there just in time to save her life. Hey, what do you know? Cordelia did something good for once. But the floating chalk wants her to listen. Are we sure the culprit isn't Matilda? In the library, the gang look at Marcy's yearbook and realise that she had no friends. Xander and Willow reaffirm that they've never met this girl, but they both signed the same generic message in the poor girl's yearbook, and also discover that they shared several classes with her. With the hellmouth below them, reality was shaped by people's perceptions, so after being repeatedly ignored by everyone, including the teachers, Marcy just faded away. Cordelia runs in a panic, begging Buffy for help because she knows she's being targeted. Buffy explains the situation to her, but Cordelia doesn't care, she just wants it gotten rid of, because like everyone else, she claims to have never met Marcy Ross. Several flashbacks and one very pissed off teenager say otherwise, Cordy. To put an end to all this, the plan is to go ahead with the May Queen festivities and draw Marcy out using Cordelia as bait. Works for me. Buffy and Cordelia have a semi-heart-to-heart where Cordelia tells her that even though she's surrounded by people, she still feels very much alone, because people are so wrapped up in wanting to be her friend that nobody ever bothers to get to know her. The flute starts up again, so Giles, Willow and Xander follow it, planning on either reasoning with Marcy or overpowering her if necessary. The flute is coming from the basement, but it's a recording and a trap. Marcy locks the three of them in and pumps gas into the room. While Cordelia changes into a May Queen dress in the cupboard, Marcy grabs her and Buffy flips up into the ceiling after her. But she comes crashing down when Marcy punches her out of the crawl space and needles her in the neck like she's in a Saw movie. The pair wake up in the bronze, tied up, with Cordelia complaining that her face is numb. Marcy's final message is displayed in glitter, but the pair don't get it. Dr. Marcy rolls up and explains that Cordelia is the lesson and she's about to give her a face that no one will ever forget. Cordelia tries to reason with Marcy, but she's pretty much snapped and slashes her across the face. Buffy manages to free herself, but Marcy is on her before she can untie Cordelia. Meanwhile, Angel shows up in the basement, codex in hand, and pulls the mostly passed out trio to safety, after he smelled the gas. He even goes back in to shut it off so the whole building doesn't go up. Good vampire. Buffy struggles to fight Marcy because, duh, she's invisible, but she centers herself for a moment, which allows her to hear where Marcy is and punches her into a curtain. Just as Buffy knocks her out, the FBI come in and take Marcy away with the promise of rehabilitating her. Buffy realizes that this isn't the first time this has happened, but the FBI won't tell her anything. The following day, Giles lies to Buffy about how they got out of the basement, and Cordelia comes up and genuinely thanks them, before she ruins the moment to save her image. Marcy is led into a classroom full of other invisible kids and opens her textbook to a very interesting topic. And that's it! I don't really like this episode. It's not terrible, but it's not realistic either, which is a weird complaint, I know, given this show is full of vampires, demons and other rando stuff. I refuse to believe that every single person ignored Marcy so much to the point that no one can remember meeting her, speaking to her, or being in class with her. Sure, I didn't know the name of everyone in my high school, but show me a picture of someone and I would know what classes I shared with them. Also, she was in band, so surely someone knew who she was there. And her parents must have cared enough about her to file a missing persons report, so her reason for becoming invisible is kinda tenuous. Also, I didn't like how they put Marcy's behaviour down to her just being crazy. She's referred to as crazy by both Giles and Buffy. And while Giles says it's because of the loneliness, it doesn't sit well with me that that is the reason behind her actions. Angry, yes. Crazy, no. Having said that, it's a bit of a turning point in this episode for Cordelia, as she gets more dimensions to her character. But some of this character development will begin to come undone in future episodes, so I wonder if they put this episode in too early, if they were just going to backtrack. I do like that this episode is referenced all the way in season 7, and in a few years when I finally get to that episode, we'll discuss. For the second episode in a row, there are no deaths, keeping our running tally at 16 human deaths, 2 transformations, 13 vampire deaths, 1 monster death, and 2 demon deaths. So there you have it. That was Out of Mind, Out of Sight. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below or come say hi on social media. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, share and subscribe. I'll speak to you soon, and don't let the vampires bite.